Hello, everybody. This is Carol, Carol Dunster, and I'm getting ready to start the second half of our Stone Rift adventure. And I'm going to pick up where our heroes left off, where they've made it through the bazaar, and they're ready to start in the second half. Let's see. You look around you, and basically you're being sent off to try to find out where all these burrow goblins are coming from. And I'm going to leave it to our, let's see, yes, I'm going to leave it to our scout to start tracking them.
All right. So I would imagine we probably made our way onto the bridge and into the bazaar again.
Oh. Yeah. And what do you see on the bridge? And all the shops that are obviously going to be in disarray and empty at this time, but what sort of shops do you pass as you cross the Great Bridge?
Well, I know that there's a Birdie's Bobble Shop, and there's also the Weapon Master over on the end. Of course, there's the accoutrement. That's not how dwarves say it, but I think Pringles was sharing that with me at one point. And so we're kind of passing these shelves that have been knocked over, and there's just wares all over the place. And I would imagine that we probably step on some glass that's laying crushed on the floor, on the ground, stone floor. And there's probably this wayward, beautiful axe laying there. It's like if I weren't an honest dwarf, I'd be picking that up. But so as we're snaking our way through the bazaar, I get a total of 17 for survival for tracking. Trying to find the footprints and stuff that
You're muted.
Got it. Yep. As you cross that bridge, you see, like you say, the market stalls that have taken a pretty good beating as everybody crowded out of there in a panic. And it's this huge bridge of steel and stone. And it, as you go across the bridge and you come to the end of it, let's see, I guess I have another poem to read. Sound of their own footsteps echoed all around them, a momentary reprieve from the impending mayhem. What awaited in these rooms? Relics, riches, or glory? Some may well hold treasure, while others may end their story. And you're going to see a hallway, and it's going to be fairly clear as you go down the hallway that there's a lot of kind of dusty footprints, that go off down one particular hall off to your left. And right in the front of that hall, there would be a door, a closed door. So I'm going to ask you what you guys do now.
John would go over to the door to see if there were any traps on it. He's always cautious about traps because he doesn't like them.
All right, roll. Let me see. Roll an investigation roll.
22.
All right. Well, having given it a good look over, you'll find pretty clearly that it's just a door. There's no traps. It's not locked, and it looks to you to be perfectly safe.
And he's going to open the door.
All right. So, as you open the door, you realize that the all of you will see that the dust is very deep, and this is pretty much an ancient and abandoned hallway, except for whatever recent traffic's gone through it, which I imagine Fergus would know was the goblin footprint. And you'll come into a large workshop, and this big kind of, I'm getting an echo by the way, kind of a big echoing room. And you'll see some workbenches here and there, and you'll see a bunch of old tools laying around, and a Blackstone golem, which is partially dismantled, kind of sitting in the corner. And you can see nobody's done anything with it for a long time. But what do you want to do?
John would start to like look through the room to see anything, and Hiddos is looking for anything of value to pick up. There's no way it's been in this room for a long time, so he just seeing that there's anything that's ancient and worth selling.
Well, probably what you'll see is a bunch of old tools that were pretty well used and left in a bit of a hurry when the workers went off and didn't even bother to put them away. And like I said, this old Blackstone golem and various golem parts here and there throughout the room, scattered on workbenches and stuck in corners. It's nothing really exciting off the top of your head there.
Is there any other door or anything in it?
There are other doors, but Jorg, what do you see? I mean, what do you think?
Well, I think Org's just gonna take a couple of steps in the room, not too far. How does that golem look? Does it look like it? You said it's just been laying there for years, covered in dust.
Yeah, but you could look at it more closely and see if you can discern anything.
So I would take a closer look at the golem since I'm kind of interested in such things.
Why don't you do an investigation check, or what other kind of check do you think you might do looking at it?
Arcana?
I might do an Arcana.
Yeah.
Or investigation, either one. I guess doesn't really make much difference. That'd be 24.
Oh, all right. Then you can look at it, and you will know that something has probably damaged the power pack to it, and there's a few pieces of it missing. But it seems likely that you could maybe find what you needed and put it back together.
Yes. Is what I need in this room.
That's for you to figure out.
Okay, well, I would start poking around. I think, didn't I say that I worked as one of the one dudes? Anyway, I'd start poking around trying to find, whatever those missing parts are, or broken parts are, and trying to reassemble the golem.
Yeah, it looks like it probably needs a couple of legs, maybe both its arms, but it's got its head and its basic computer. And look for a new power supply for it.
I think actually what I'll do, being who I am and doing what I do, and maybe notice that maybe the power pack itself is like an old battery. Needs a little bit of an extra jump start just to get back going again. I'll put my hands on the two terminals, and that lightning that we all saw when I shocked that goblin that was spitting fire at us earlier, going to start popping and cracking in my eyes and on my fingertips again. Maybe not anywhere near as violently, but I would start to just kind of feed some of that energy into the battery on the golem to reactivate it.
Okay, why don't you give me another Arcana check and see if you can do that.
I want to be 9. Oh, no, 10, sorry.
Well, that's going to pop and sizzle for a while, but it's not quite going to get it started.
I mumble some dwarven swear words under my breath and give it a kick. Friggin' thing's broken. Why do I always get the broken one?
It kind of coughs and sputters and almost starts again.
I kick it some more. Anybody got a hammer? Little percussive maintenance on this thing?
Come on, get up, you black beast. He smacks it with one of his meaty paws.
Pringle's just been kind of wandering around, looking at the tools on the table. Once in a while, he picks one up and tosses it back down. When he hears the sound of, is it Jurgis?
Jorg?
Or Jorg. When he hears the sound of Jorg trying to channel this electricity into the golem, he turns around and goes, I don't think that's how you're supposed to do it.
You got any better ideas?
Yeah, let me try. And he walks over and he's kind of looking at it. Nope, I don't know what I'm doing. Sorry. Do we need this thing? Do you think that?
John Gibbons would actually start looking for the battery packs too, because he's not exactly brave, and he would think something having like big and strong and tough would definitely help in this adventure deep underground. So
Maybe if you described what you needed, Pringle could help you look for it.
I don't know what the battery pack looks like. Maybe square.
Jorg reaches back inside of the thing he was channeling the electricity into and pulls out this kind of small black box with a couple of terminals on it and some burnt wires and a big scorch mark across the middle of it, and sets it on the table. We're looking for something a bit like this, but not so broken.
Excellent. So Pringle would start poking around and look for battery packs.
I get a history roll. I haven't worked with them directly because I've mostly been up on the surface, but I may have heard about it.
Sure. So go right
Okay.
ahead.
So it's a total of a 15 for history. See if I'm scratching my head. He's kind of thinking about it, thinking on what he might recall if his pops ever shared that with him or one of his coworkers.
Interestingly enough, what he gets on the history roll is that he remembers that there were sets of commands that you could give the golems to tell them to do things. And he has a bit of an idea what those commands might be. But obviously at this particular point, that's not quite as useful as it might be. And Pringle, in his investigation looking around, finds what looks to be a perfectly functional leg and maybe even an arm.
Pringle would stand up and he would just exclaim ever so excitedly, Eureka! And he's holding this leg up over his head and he brings it over to the other dwarf.
He's going to have to do an athletics check to bring it over. They're pretty heavy.
Okay, so this is where he crushes himself. Oh, no, maybe not. Athletics. Oh, 20.
Oh, well, he's actually quite proficient at bringing this over. He's stronger than he thought because these are big legs.
He's been watching me.
I was inspired by the other dwarf.
And maybe with a little help, they can bring the arm over too.
Yeah, but he gets a little tweak in his back after he gets the leg over there, and then he is not quite as exuberant with the arm. He just kind of picks it up, carries it.
I'm quite sure.
Fergus sees him struggling and, there, let me give you a hand. You did fine with the leg. And he shakes it from him and carries it over there.
And seeing that the Pringle has found a couple of pieces of the golem, Yarg will quit poking through the broken part of it, the head and chest, and start looking around the room to see if he can find any extra pieces as well that might help. I rolled a 21 for investigation.
Nice. I think with that, you're going to find the other leg, and you're going to find a somewhat more functional looking battery pack.
So I grab the battery pack and take it back and kind of nudge John. Hey, you want to grab that leg and bring it over here?
Well, John looks at the leg and looks at Fergus. He's like, why doesn't the fat one bring it over?
And Fergus just kind of looks around like, Pringles isn't that fat. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and Pringle looks all insulted.
See? Elves. Floppy ears. Here, let me give you a hand. Fergus steps up and starts helping with attaching the leg.
All right.
And-
Oh, go ahead.
John pats Fergus on the back. He's like, good old chap. Thank goodness he didn't understand what I was talking to, because I'd probably be dead by now.
All right, we're gonna need an athletics check, pure brawn, to get these pieces in place, because they're heavy and awkward, and we need to get them in place.
So Pringle will it will assist Fergus in getting them into place, which will give him advantage, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Rolled a crit +5, so on
Gosh, I don't know if that's
athletics.
enough. So obviously with Pringle, I can see guiding the whole process, telling Fergus exactly where to put them. Fergus is fully capable of getting them all lined up, and I'm sure you can all work together and hook them up. And I guess you're left with a battery pack at this point to get in.
So you said there's 2 legs and an arm?
Yeah.
Well, Yarg would take the battery pack and set it back in place to the other one and begin to try to wire the pieces back together and get it fired up.
John would be looking for the other arm.
Okay. Do investigation for the other arm, and I think maybe Arcana. Just a second. Maybe Arcana for the battery pack.
That's a little better. 18.
Okay. What did you roll?
11.
11. You're not going to be able to find another arm for it. They're just what you find out there is so broken up, it's not going to be useful. And this time you'll be able to hook up the battery pack and even give it a little bit more of a charge to get it going. You want to tell us how that goes?
Like, twist the wires together and get it installed, kind of, and, go jerk my hand back and go back in and then get those last 2 wires twisted together, a couple more pops and some more singes in my robes and face, and my beard's a little more burnt, and close up the covering panels and stuff on it to keep it from getting damaged, and kind of give it another. It kind of whirs back again and starts, like, the lights flicker in its eyes or whatever, and it kind of starts up again and it goes back down. And I take my quarterstaff and just wham on the side of the head, and it starts up and is ready for whatever
Now that's teamwork. As he slaps Pringles on the shoulder really hard.
And I imagine that would just send Pringle just like totally teetering over himself, crashing into one of these tables.
He just looks down at him like he is a dwarf, right?
The sophisticated dwarf.
I'm
picking on you.
Sorry. John looks down at Pringle and says, "Grow a spine." His hand, when he hits you, it's not that heavy. I've been hit by him before, so. and he puts his hand where he's missing a tooth. He's like, "I've been hit by him before."
And Fergus looks at him, and he says, "Move." Move?
Pringle jumps up and starts moving.
Sorry, he's looking at the one-armed golem.
Oh, my bad.
The golem starts kind of moving his legs and trying to stand up. It's a little hard with one arm. He's a little unbalanced, so he kind of falls over a couple of times and stumbles around, and then he gets up and starts walking towards the wall.
Stay.
And creaks to a stop. It seems your memory of history is pretty good.
Ha ha! It's coming back to me now. Move here, or something.
Gollum kind of moves the direction that he tells it to. Yeah, and going back to the workshop when you first came in, you notice there is another door in the rear of the workshop.
So I guess Pringle would wander on over there, and just kind of test the handle.
Yeah, and the handle kind of, and it moves, and if you want, you can open the door.
Oh yeah, Pringle would totally open the door. He goes, "I'll just be over here, guys," and he pulls the door open.
Right, and as he goes in, let's see, yeah, you'll come in from the east and head west across the room. You'll see that there's some old unused lightning repository, the big tanks for the lightning bolts, and one exit to the south of the room and two to the north. And basically, otherwise the room is pretty much empty except for tracks all around in it.
So Pringle was watching earlier, and so he kind of looks down at these tracks and trying to see where they lead, though he has like no real skill in tracking anything except a story or a song. In that case, he's excellent.
And before he realizes it, there's this strange scent that starts wafting into his nostril. And if he kind of looks to his side, and Fergus is looking down at them with you. You know what that is, right?
Pringle looks at Fergus. He looks back down at the floor, and he goes, "Of course I do. But you can tell me anyways."
Nah, that's the fun of it. And he slaps him on the back.
This time, Pringle is ready, but he still falls down.
John looks at the feet on the ground. He's like, "Oh, those must be chicken feet." Wonder why there's chickens down here.
Do we know which way we're going? As he's lifting himself up off of the ground.
We're following the tracks, right?
Yeah. So, do you want us to make a survival roll, Carol?
Nature, survival,
Okay.
whatever
I'll
people are
do-
good at.
I'll do survival because it seems like that'd be most appropriate. An 8.
That 8.
I think we have to go this way. And he's pointing the way we've come.
Well, there's definitely tracks there.
I rolled a 3, and he's like, I agree with Pringle.
See, even John agrees with me.
And they've all started heading off that way, like, you know, like talking to each other, like, yeah,
I
that
rolled
was a good tavern, yes.
I rolled a
Already
4.
halfway into the workroom.
I rolled a 4. I'm like, yeah. Obviously, it's this way.
Carolyn, this is where your game goes totally the wrong direction you didn't expect because we're going the wrong way.
I've been putting all of my hopes into Fergus. He'll probably roll a 1.
No, I
he
got a
posted
16.
it in the chat.
So I would imagine that Fergus starts actually kind of grabs Pringle by the belt and sort of points down, and then he kind of snaps his meaty sausages at the other guys and like, hey, the goblin marks are here.
Are you sure?
And John, oh, we were following goblin marks? I thought we were following chickens.
Yeah, topsider.
No, there's a few goblin marks going out, you know, each one of the doors. Probably somebody's. The main ones would go towards the top and kind of towards the back.
So the further tunnel, northern tunnel.
Yes, the further northern tunnel.
Of course,
door.
it's this way.
Now you're
Fergus,
getting
I mean, Pringle would totally pretend like it was his idea, not Fergus's, that that was the way to go.
And Fergus is good with it. He just kind of smiles at him with a big grin, keeps going along.
So Fergus would go. Fergus. I keep calling myself Fergus, man. Pringle would go. Would trundle off ahead. That way.
Maybe we should let the golem go first.
Well, we can do that. Move. And I would imagine it's still lumbering. It's probably kept lumbering.
Yeah, probably pretty much. They probably walked into one of those circular things and is just kind of walking into it.
He just kind of rearranges it and sort of pushes it to keep it on track.
So you're gonna have him go up there. There's a doorway up there you can't see in the little map thing. You want him to try to open the door?
Yeah, I tell him to stay. Lift.
Stop. He tries to lift. I assume the door. That's what you have in mind.
Yeah, I'm telling him, in other words, rip the door off the hinges.
He kind of grabs the bottom of the door, and then all these horrible noises of squealing metal. Crash, and the door comes flying off into the air.
Not one of my finer ideas. And so it does it actually lift the whole door out?
It kind of rips it loose, so it's half hanging there. You can go through. I mean, you could have just opened it, but
Right. Fergus was feeling very dwarven. They're gonna have to fix that. send some workmen down here.
Well, this has all been long abandoned. So I'm sure nobody really cares.
I tell it move and see if it'll navigate its way through the doorway.
It kind of, yeah, just pushes through the doorway and goes into the next room. You hear some kind of clunking and sounds like it runs into something and it goes crash and you hear the sound of breaking glass. Are you guys going to go in or?
Yeah, I yell out, stay.
Hey,
Stop.
A little late, but I yell, stay.
Smashing into things.
Yorg would follow, not super close, but in 10 feet or so behind the golem as it walks into the room.
Yeah, Pringle would go in as well.
See what we can see.
Yeah, this room, unlike the other one, which had still some lightning, things lighting it up here and there. This room, as you go in, it's pretty dark, but you can see that there's like dusty old shelves with glass vials in them with various liquids. And some of the liquids glow in the dark, providing most of the illumination, plus the puddle of stuff that he broke on the floor that's also glowing in the dark. Ugly, weird yellow and orange and purple streaks.
Yorg would take his shirt up over his face and kind of steer clear of whatever's on the floor and look around. I suggest we not breathe too deeply in here.
And John looks at the golem and he sees that he's glowing. He's like, so much for stealth. Just have a lantern with us, apparently. Because he crashed into the...
Yeah, he's been walking in it.
Just as he's saying that is when Pringle's kind of running his finger through some of the spilt glowing chemical, and he's like,
the chemical that Pringle's looking at happens to be this weird glowing yellow. And as you examine it, you find that your face is sort of itching.
interesting. Do you know what this is? And he's rubbing it between his fingers. His face is itching. With his other hand, he's scratching his face.
As he scratches his face, he's going to notice that, like, his beard is longer.
That's a good look on you.
Yes, particularly
Thank you.
since it's bright yellow. The 2 new inches of beard are bright yellow.
I think this has happened to me before. And he would just wipe the yellow glowing stuff onto his trousers.
And the flasks that aren't broken.
Yeah, Yorg would definitely be kind of walking along, looking at the individual flasks. Maybe he would have picked up one of the other glowing ones, just kind of holding it at a distance away from him and using it as a light to light up the labels on any of the other flasks.
Now, a lot of them are yellow or cracked or not too great, but you find a few that are neon orange, a couple more electric yellow ones, and a very definite glow-in-the-dark blue.
Is there a chance I could do like history or arcana just to see if maybe I recognize any of these, or are they labeled at all?
No, they're not labeled. The labels are so old and nasty they've long since fallen off. But do an arcana check and see if you can tell.
16.
Well, that should be enough to know that you have The neon orange ones are, if you throw them, they'll explode for 1d6 damage. And let me see. Where did that... And let me see. The glow in the dark blue, you realize that's a radiation type of liquid that you see, and if you throw that and it breaks it and hits someone, it'll do 1d4 radiation damage. And as you figured out, the yellow one is the grow your beard yellow. And you've got 3 of the neon orange explosive ones, 2 yellow ones, and 3 blue ones.
Pringle would make sure to take one of the yellow ones, and he would spirit it away into one of his bags.
What kind of damage did the you said explosive damage, but what
Oh, the explosive was 1d6.
2-6, okay.
Fire. Probably.
Yeah.
So you already gathered those up and maybe pack one of each of the blue and orange with himself and offer the others to everybody else. See if anybody else wants to carry them around.
John would take one of the yellow ones. He's like, I need to grow a beard to fit in with the dwarf crowd. Even though I'll dwarf them all, apparently.
Yes, I think electric yellow beard is the thing.
The normally jovial Fergus actually takes a very somber tone and looks at John and says, "You know, I've taken your jokes, but making fun of a man's beard, that's not going to fly."
John's like, what are you going to do? Crunch my toe?
Not this again.
When you least expect it. Cow, another tooth.
I don't think I can lose any more teeth. I'm pretty sure most of them are all gone. I've had plenty of run-ins with you and other dwarves. I live with them, so.
So, Carol, is there a way out of this room other than the way we came in?
Yes, there is a door in the back, like on the west. You came in from, from the south in the room, and then hold it. I better make sure. I keep getting turned around. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
I'm looking at the map here, and it's backwards.
Pringle would go to that door then.
Yeah, but there's a door in the back of the room.
And he would open it again, like the other one.
Okay. And as you come into this room, I guess you guys are putting off a fair amount of light. I suppose you all have dark vision, don't you?
Yeah, we all have dark vision, so everything's kind of dim to us. But actually, we have the glowing.
Yes, you all have the glowing golem feet.
Yeah, actually, how much light does one of these vials give off, like the yellow ones?
I would say probably dim light for a 10-foot radius.
Perfect. That's what Pringle's using. He's kind of holding it up.
little yellow lantern.
Like one of those little glow sticks that you break and shake.
It's about how much, yeah.
Just enough to make you a target, but not enough to see by.
Hey, I never said Pringle was the wisest bard.
Wiser than Fergus, but
At any rate, in this room, you see a room that's empty except for the dust and obvious signs of age. And there's a single rug in the center of the room. And I would say almost certainly John would notice that there's some strange marks next to the door.
as John would see if there's any traps now, because he has put traps on certain things and certain people, so he has a pretty good idea what they are.
All right, roll investigation.
Investigation or perception. Both of them are the same, but just
Well, no, investigation is what you'd roll when you're looking for traps. Or you're actively looking for something like that and examining things.
dang it. 9.
Well, you don't find any traps. But you do
Looks.
probably...
Oh,
Go
sorry.
ahead. No, that's fine.
I
Go
was
ahead.
gonna say, Pringle says, "Looks fine to me," and goes forward.
John Gibbons puts a hand on Pringle. You should go first, just in case or something. And he starts pushing him along. And also, anyways, he's a target, so they'll get rid of him first, which is a great pleasure to us.
John, you would also notice a little more as you look a little more closely around you that those marks are actually written in thieves' cant. And you should be able to read them.
Yeah.
And there's a little rhyme there that says, "Look below, there's a secret to know."
He lifts up the rug to see if there's a trapdoor underneath it.
Yep, you do find a trapdoor under the rug.
He's like, "Who wants to go first?" And he looks at Fergus. "Oh, ladies first, please."
He looks over at the golem and says, "Move."
The golem moves.
How big is this trapdoor, Carol?
I would say probably 3 feet square. Yeah.
So I'm thinking this golem is probably not going to fit in the trapdoor. Right? It's bigger than that.
I would think the golem would not fit, correct.
Okay. So as the golem's kind of entering this room, that's probably about the same time Pringle is like, can you see how it opens? Is it like a ring, or is there a handle, or does it slide? How does it?
You tell me.
Oh, okay. So there's this, it's kind of inset. It's like a ring that's inset in the actual trapdoor itself. So he reaches down, grabs a hold of it, looks up at John, gives him a nice toothy smile, and he pulls the trapdoor up.
Yeah, squeaks up, and there's some steps going down into a cellar.
So there's a cacophonous as he flips the trapdoor so it slams onto the floor on the other side, and he kind of puts this glowing vial of yellow beard grow ahead of him as he starts going down the stairs.
As he starts down the stairs, it raises big clouds of dust, which no doubt leave him coughing and gagging.
Oh, by the way, he does have Kellogg drawn. He has drawn Kellogg.
Are there any goblin footprints in this room? Are they in the room with the trapdoor, or headed towards the stairs the trapdoor's at, or anywhere?
Yeah, sit here and you're just in time to talk. There were definitely goblin footprints going through the room, maybe tromping across the rug. You don't know. It doesn't look like the rug's been disturbed for a long time.
Okay. Are there other exits to that room aside from the one?
Yeah, there was another exit in the back of the room.
Okay. So York would just kind of be standing at the top of the stairs as Pringle's headed down, keeping his eye on that other door after all the noise that we've been making, crashing vials and ripping doors off and thumping, just in case somebody decides they may want to come flying through the door.
Just the normal dwarven stuff, right?
Yeah, this stuff that doors always do.
And John would pull out his 2 short swords and follow Pringle down the stairs. In this case, the smile is gone from his face now, and the the CV size is also gone because thieves can't. It's not a language that he's read in a while, so it's kind of brought back memories to him. Because dwarves are not usually rogues.
I think Pringle would try to be as quiet as he can as he's going down these stairs.
Yarg will be standing right there at the top with his quarterstaff ready. He's going to ready an action, essentially, if somebody jumps out and ends up within 5 feet of him, he'll whack it.
And you get... Was it Pringles in front?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, then Pringle's going to be the first one to see that basically this room is an old abandoned wine cellar, and that there's a couple of few bottles of things left in it that might be worth investigating.
He will investigate.
Yeah, maybe you can do better than John Givens did.
He's going to investigate with a 5.
Hmm. I guess he's not going to find an awful lot. Maybe it's pretty dark down there yet.
I thought there were bottles down here, but I can't seem to find any. So yeah, he's just kind of going through like some empty bottles that are on these racks. You know, maybe on some of them the corks have rotten, and what was ever inside the bottles has long since leaked and dried up or evaporated, which has done everything to hamper poor Pringle's spirits. He's at first was thinking motherlode finding this wine cellar.
Anybody else want to do anything in here?
I think John is investigating down here too, because he came down the stairs with
Oh,
Pringle.
that's right.
Yeah, I rolled a 15 for it, so.
Well, you're actually a little bit luckier than Pringle. And what you find in one dark corner stashed back there with your sharp, thievy eyes is roll me a d4.
1.
You're going to find one bottle of old and very fancy, expensive-looking bottle of what looks like it might be whiskey. What's that Pringle crying back there in the background? Is that what I heard?
And John,
By my yellow beard. No. By my yellow beard.
John would
I
be
do
like,
believe that's bourbon.
John would be like, oh, I'm not selling it. I'm drinking it. I know I like money, but this stuff tastes better than money.
And as soon as you say bourbon, Pringle, you turn around and York's standing right behind you. Somebody say bourbon?
Well,
Yes, Stone River.
and there's like dust coming up from the stairs. And
We're gonna have to pass that one around.
Yeah, John, you would have that feeling, I think, that as you take that first haul off this bottle, you know how when like you're eating and your dogs and your cats are kind of sitting around you watching you eat? That's what's happening right now. Pringle's kind of looking at you.
And John's his eyes are like moving back and forth slowly. He's like, and he gulps as soon as he screws on the bottle. He hands off to Fergus real slowly. He's like, I don't think I should be in the middle of this.
As you pass the bottle over, I'd imagine everybody's eyes just go along with it.
Mm-hmm. And Fergus tilts the bottle and probably takes a little more than what he should, but makes sure that he gets a little on his beard, and he just kind of flips the hair up into his mouth, and you hear him. That's tasty. That's lightning fired. As he passes it on.
Pringle takes the bottle from Fergus. and he does one of these things where he's just like, intoxicating, and he takes a huge haul. You can tell he's a dwarf when he drinks this bourbon. Wipes his mouth and then hands it to the last remaining dwarf in this group.
York takes the bottle and tilts it back, and one drop goes on his tongue. And he just looks like absolutely crushed.
And Fergus kind of turns kind of bashfully and just sort of kicks the ground a little bit, sort of starts looking at the golem like, yeah, we should probably get moving.
Yep. And Pringle sprints up the stairs.
Yeah. John looks down at the bottle. He's like, I found the bottle. It's empty now. He pulls out his
Where? Where did you find the bottle?
Over in a corner.
York's gonna like start ripping around, tearing, throwing, like grabbing bottles, just throwing them over his shoulder. Like grab one, look at it, throw it. He's just kind of ripping through there, trying to see if there's any more.
And
The dwarfs of Stone Rift, masters of stealth.
And John pulls out both of his short swords and he follows Fergus up the stairs. You come back here, dwarf. I'm not done. You still have some of that bourbon on your beard, don't you?
That actually is pretty gross, but
Fergus doesn't know what to think of it. He just kind of looks at him like perplexed, and then he's just, I don't know about that, boy.
all right. Well, Pringle would go to the next door. Now that his belly is warm with that bourbon in it, Carol.
All right.
He's going to do same things he did last time. He'll just take the handle and give it a tug.
All right. Well, this time as you open the door, what you see in front of you is another old repository room with 6 of those big containers, metal and glass containers that hold lightning. And while it was abandoned a long time ago, it's still partially active. And you'll see there's like, you were, and you'll see there's like, lightning kind of randomly shooting around the room because it's not fully controlled anymore. But it's pretty obvious the path goes from that side to the other side. But this room is really pretty hazardous. And the golem did not go up and down the stairs, but he did go through the door into the next room. He didn't fit down the trapdoor. But so this is going to be a skill challenge as to how you get from one side of this room to the other, avoiding all the lightning randomly shooting around from barrel to barrel.
Well, the answer is simple. You just run across the room. Pringle gets ready to start running across the room.
And John's like, I think that's going to end badly. Look at this dwarf over here, and he points at Jarg. You know how his hair's all like that?
And Fergus is like, shh, I want to see this.
Perfect.
John looks at Fergus and he nods his head like, hey, he grabs like a stone and leans back and pulls out some popcorn.
Yeah, so Pringle would do one of these things. He'd put his sword away and he'd be doing like this.
Okay,
Touch his toes.
So which skill do you want to use? This is the traditional, everybody gets to use a different skill.
Oh, so he will use acrobatics, I guess, as he deftly makes his way across this room. Wait, how long is it? Because he's only a sprinter. He's not a long distance runner.
Let's see. I think just a second.
I'm going to use my inspiration.
It's about 20 feet long.
Okay. Pringle gets a 14 as he runs across this room.
Pringle's gonna get part of the way across the room, and he's going to get zapped with the lightning.
Perfect.
So yeah, tell us what it's like when he gets hit by the lightning here. And I'll
Right. So
damage.
it's actually quite a scene, because at first he's making his way and he's kind of like running across, and he kind of ducks and rolls past a couple of these repositories, and the others, as they're watching him, are probably like, holy crap, this crazy bard is gonna make it. And just when he's almost there, he like literally stops like 15 feet short. He turns around to the others and goes, see, it wasn't so, as the lightning hits him. And I take 6 damage. Yeah. So it literally, you see his yellow beard just go like all like out. It's got little things of static running through it. His hair is all like sticking out, and then he just kind of like collapses to the floor.
John was clapping for him all the way, and as soon as he gets struck by lightning, he starts clapping harder.
Yeah, perfect. Oh, we have such a motley crew. I love it.
And Fergus is like, man, he had it right up to the point, right after he was stretching.
Right after the point where he became full of himself.
Ah, too funny.
Jorg's watching, like, with a look of a knowing look in his eyes as he's watching. He's like, "Ee!" Already watches him get hit, and he's like, "Oh!" Just like, "Ow!" I know how it feels.
Yeah.
And then you see his right arm come up, and he's like, "I'm okay."
Hey, big round of dwarven
would
stealth, right?
Yes, I would imagine while he's laying there, the lightning's kind of every so often zapping over his head.
Yeah, and he just crawls the rest of the way.
So who's next? Who's brave?
I am. John's like, "Oh, I'll show you how it's really done." And he fluffs up his jacket. And he stretches his back. And here we go.
Hold just a second. What skill are you using?
Acrobatics.
That's been used. You'll have to come up with another skill.
It's been used. I'm the best at it.
I know. Anything you can justify, though, and if you can come up with a good reason that I should accept it, I will.
Well, athletics is the second best. I'll show you how it's really done as soon as he jumps in.
Is your perception really good?
+3. I don't know. That's really
That's
good.
pretty good.
How is he's just gonna walk through there and?
I was just thinking you could use your perception to see like if there's a pattern to way the lightning is jumping around the room, and you could kind of just, like in a video game where it goes and then you go oop, and it goes and then you go and you move forward. You could use your perception for that, I guess.
Well, in this case, he actually has 21. He does athletics, and he just does a cartwheel through the air constantly, and it goes over the electricity and lands next to Pringle. It's like, see, that's how it's done.
You're just so strong, you actually can leap and cart roll over the whole thing, huh?
Yeah.
Cartwheel. That's great.
He looks at Fergus. Why don't you try that one? The big one-wood dwarf.
All right, I guess I'm up next. Looks at Jorg. You sure you don't want to go first?
That's all right. You go ahead.
All right, and similar to perception, I'm going to try a nature roll because lightning is natural, and since we're trying to use a different skill every time, he is trying to watch the lightning as it shapes and see if he can go underneath it or maybe jump over it and so on. He got a total of a 5.
Oh boy. Tell us how you don't do very well getting across here.
So I would imagine that he starts running. Oh, and he jumps. He's like, oh, and he kind of leans to the side just in time to miss one of them as he lays right into another one that basically takes him, and he's like this contortion, like you see one eye half open and one eye fully open, and there's like spittle coming out of his mouth as his beard starts to like turn into Fizzgig.
Like a comic book where you see the little rays come off him.
Right. And it actually kind of propels him forward somewhat as he just kind of lays there and just kind of flops a couple times, and he farts. And he's just laying there, and he kind of pops one eye open and looks up at the elf, and that's how you take a lightning strike.
Amazingly, you only take 1 point of damage for that.
See, I told you.
John looked down at him. He was like, "That's one hell of a show, chap. Why don't you try it again? You can actually show us how it's really done again. Just this time, just try to get struck by 2 lightning bolts. It'd be even more fun."
This time he could roll performance.
Acrobatics to hit the lightning bolt.
So, Jorg is going to just kind of be shaking his head. And again, he winces like, oh, you know, and kind of feels the spot, this kind of burnt mark across his face where the beard is particularly like thin and kind of white, and there's this sort of scar as he watches Fergus take the lightning bolt to the face. Oh, all right. And he kind of settles back, and he's going to use, hopefully, his knowledge of lightning as far as it pertains to the arcane. And he actually spends quite a bit of time practicing his lightning-based magic evocation skills. And so for a 16 on knowledge arcana, or an arcana, I guess, he's going to just judge, maybe even if we're successful, always successful on that throw.
Yes, you are just barely able to make it. So describe how you just barely make it through.
So he's going to use that knowledge and maybe some of his ability to control lightning to sort of push the lightning bolts. Like one comes flying down at him. He makes it most of the way through, kind of just ducking and dodging through him. One comes flying down at him, and he puts his hand out, and he kind of just reflects it off his hand. He maybe gets a little singe mark on his palm, but he bounces it off and kind of shoots it off towards one of the repositories and ducks and swings and maybe does the same thing to another one and steps out next to you guys and kind of, okay. That was invigorating. I'm ready. Let's go.
John looks at all the dwarves and he's like, maybe this is why they go insane. They get struck by lightning 12 times a day.
Who you calling insane?
I wonder if Fergus would bring the golem across too.
I can exactly see what the golem would do. He would just tell it to move, and it would walk through there with all the lightning going, bzzzt, 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 maybe even charging it up a little bit.
Yep.
He was designed to work in the repositories. You know, he just grounds the lightning out, and he's fine.
So where would we go? Where's our exit from here? Is it like another doorway or?
Yeah, there's another doorway back south.
Okay.
Is Pringle going to do his usual? We don't care if there's traps.
Honestly, it's not that Pringle doesn't care if there's traps. It's Pringle doesn't give it a thought that there may be a trap. As he will pull the door open if it's unlocked.
All right. Doesn't give it a thought. Brilliant.
Oh, and by the way, his beard is still sticking out. He hasn't done anything to kind of like tame it, and his hair is still kind of like, it's kind of blackened a bit.
Pringle's the heavy metal bard.
Yeah.
His hair's all teased out.
Yeah, he's used to getting shocked. Every once in a while, he gets some feedback from his amp, and so.
They often use the amplifiers on
Right.
bagpipes.
But only when he's playing the hand drum.
Because an amplified bagpipe is pretty terrifying,
Yeah.
especially Pringles.
You always make sure you got to maintain it, because if you get the loose wires, that's what happens.
So yeah, as you exit the lightning repository room, you hear an extra loud crackle kind of behind you. And when you turn around and look, you're going to see this creature that looks like it's made out of lightning. And it's kind of, because all of your commotion and stamping and stomping and cracking and banging around has finally brought some attention. And you've got this crazy kind of like creatures, just jaggedy spurts of lightning coming at you from behind.
So Pringle would very sternly say, "Well, time to go," and he would go out the doorway into the other room.
And John would start pushing all the dwarves out of the way and start running down the hallway like. "Ah!"
Well, I think what's going to have to happen, actually, to be honest with you, is you're going to have to roll initiative. I don't think it's going to be that easy to escape.
Okay.
Fergus looks at John. He's, damn it, John! I thought you were supposed to be quiet.
You know,
Where's my?
I'm the king game with daddy.
What initiative do you want the golem on?
Why don't we just put him with you to be simple?
Okay. Are you calling me simple?
If that's what you want, I'll be happy to oblige.
I love, Carol, how you're like, you quickly said,
Okay. Yeah, they want a quick bio break. I think that's a great idea. So we'll take a 5-minute here before we get settled in.
Sounds great.
Before we light this up. The fun part of living in Arizona, my wife just killed a scorpion.
You know why I don't live in Arizona?
Scorpions.
Exactly. Those things creep the shit out of me. I can do
Yeah,
almost
I wouldn't like
anything
that.
but, I don't know, something about those things, man. If I was ever visiting anybody in like New Mexico or Arizona, the first scorpion I saw, I'd be like, all right, see ya. I'm out of here.
I'm going to the airport.
I would not sleep or be able to do anything for the rest of the time I was there. I'd literally be all freaked out. And they're not big, right? Aren't they like little things?
Yeah, they vary in size, but they don't get to be too big. Usually we find them, they're about maybe penny to maybe quarter.
Oh, like, wow, they're that small?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Thankfully, they're not huge. But that's also a bad thing because they're not huge and you can't really see them. Thankfully, we only see them like maybe once or twice a year, but
So I thought maybe before we went on, we could really quick, you guys could introduce yourselves and your characters. Since we didn't do that at the beginning, and people might wonder who's who and all that good stuff.
Oh, I think they know who's who, Carol. I mean, we have all established ourselves in this game.
Well, there might be some people that don't know us.
That is true. That is true.
Maybe 10 years from now or something.
Yes, for posterity's sake.
I'll start with you, Ben, and Dami.
All right. Well, I'm Ben. I'm DM Carol's son. I'm playing Jorg Cobblebeard.
I am Dominic, and I've DM'd a couple games, but my favorite way of DMing is kill everything.
What character are you playing?
My character is John Givens, the half-elf.
Half what?
Half-elf.
All right. Then we will have we'll do Dave.
hey folks, I'm Dave, channel Mornblade Gaming, and I am playing Fergus Onderdonder, the fighter scout archetype. He is of the Brightbolt clan. He's about as tall as he is wide, about 4 feet tall. Yeah. And right now he kind of looks like Fizzgig because he just got struck by lightning. So he and Pringle both kind of look like they just stuck their finger in a light socket.
And then I guess Lionel.
Hello, I am Lionel. I am half of the YouTube channel Two Guys T and D&D, and today I'm playing Fergus the Bard, thespian,
Yes.
troubadour, and everything amazing.
You gave yourself the wrong name, Lionel.
Oh, what did I say, Fergus?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I feel just like Kaya from our other game, or John from our other game. I just want to call myself Fergus. I am actually Ringo
too.
the Bard. And as you can tell, I got a little bit more shook up from that lightning strike than I thought.
And the bourbon.
You shouldn't have drank so much of that bourbon.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, Pringle's a cheap date. Just write that down. That's canon.
I see that. So anyway, yeah, we're facing down this creature that came up from the rear. It's sort of a vaguely humanoid-looking thing with kind of a skull, only it's all like lightning and smoke, and there's this sort of skull-like face in it. And every so often it lashes out with tendrils of pure lightning. And the first one to try to deal with it in initiative order would be Jorg.
All right. So, how big is this thing?
Let's say probably roughly, I guess man size won't work because there's so many sizes. I'd say about 4 feet tall.
4 feet tall, but it's not very big.
No, it's just real sparkly.
And I have an idea, and I just want to run it by you and see what you think, and see if this is something that might be possible. I want to use my abilities as an arcanist to ground this thing out to one of the lightning repositories and just trap it in there, if it's possible, since they're designed to catch and store electricity.
That's a fantastic idea. How are you going to do it? I mean,
Thinking of using shocking grasp and like putting my hand inside of it and on one of the lightning repositories and trying to funnel it through me into that.
oh man, that sounds dangerous to me, but go for it.
Okay.
Sounds better than what I was thinking. I thought he was going to, say Fergus was bait or something like that.
Yeah, John might have thought of that.
Yeah, we would use Fergus as bait and just leave him there and run off into oblivion.
Or maybe use my my quarterstaff as a conduit for it.
Because
So
it's
use that lightning anyway.
wood is so conductive.
Well, it's magic, or I'm magic.
Well, that's true. You can make magic conductivity. That works.
So, however you want that to happen, what do you want me to roll to do so?
Roll on like a. Do you have like touch attacks, melee sort of things in your magical repertoire? I mean, treat it like an attack.
Weird honking beast.
Yeah, it's going to be a melee attack.
Okay. Not great.
Do you have inspiration?
No, I don't.
Can I give him my inspiration?
Sure.
All right, good. Only slightly better. 12.
Let's see. That does not hit it. It does, however, because it's a melee attack. Let me see if I can double check this. Oh no, you didn't hit it, so that's good. Basically, you it dodges out of your quarterstaff range, and you managed to avoid hitting it and doing anything useful, but it doesn't do anything to you either.
I guess that's good.
And the next one is John Gibbons.
Well, John, he looks down the hallway and he looks back at Jorg. And he finally decides, and he starts shaking his head, and he pulls out both of his short swords and walks over to the electricity beast.
All right.
And he just starts swinging at it.
So you're just attacking it with your swords.
Yeah. He knows it's probably going to hurt because it's made out of electricity, but he has to experience being struck by electricity eventually because he lives in Stone Rift.
All right, roll your attack.
Oh, I was wrong on my total. I don't know if this changes it or not. I had a 14 to hit.
Actually, a 14 would hit. So if you don't mind, Dami, we'll retcon this and go ahead and let him do his interesting idea.
Okay. All right, so I just all that lightning and everything that comes out, the hands and everything start to spark and crackle in my eyes and turn blue, and the lightning bolts kind of start. And I take my staff and jam it into the center of this creature, and it would like try to jump away, but the lightning bolts would like arc down my staff and kind of reach in and grab onto it, and it like looked surprised for a second as I jammed the other end of the staff against the nearest repository that actually looks like it might sort of still be working, and just draw the lightning creature down through the staff and into the repository.
I'm going to say it's not completely that easy.
Okay.
I think you're going to how would I do this? like suck it partway in so it doesn't move around as easily as it would have otherwise.
Okay.
And it's going to give it disadvantage on its next attack.
Okay.
Anyway. And you are going to take 4 points of lightning damage
Okay.
for hitting it with a melee attack.
All right.
Does my roll still count since I rolled? Or do we just have to re-roll?
What was it?
My roll?
Yeah, what was it?
21.
Yeah, that's going to count.
Okay.
I would have counted anyway, but I just...
For 4 points of damage.
Oh, I did shocking grasp too. Sorry, I keep interrupting, but which actually does do damage. If you want me to, I don't know. I don't know how this.
Yeah, what's the damage?
Okay. 8. 4 and 8.
Okay, and how much? You did 4 points of damage, John?
Yeah.
Okay. Did I tell you how much lightning damage you took?
Not me, but Jordan.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, when you hit it with your weapon, you're gonna get a really good snap and crackle, and you're gonna take 6 points of damage.
Ouch.
Okay, isn't it?
On the next one, the next one's going to be our lightning monster.
Dominic has a second attack.
Yeah, because
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
I have 2 short swords. I won't use my strength or dex for my second one.
Right. Okay.
Oh, 13, does that hit?
No. Oh no, actually, 13 hits. Never mind. I can't read my own writing.
5 points of damage.
Okay.
So that's more electricity.
All right. Are you done with your turn?
Yeah, he's done. Does he take more damage for hitting him again?
Oh, yeah. I think he would. He would have to. Oh, ouch. And that's 4 points that time. You're getting pretty frazzled over there, John Given. You know you wanted to experience the lightning thing. Now you've gotten plenty of it. No. He's died. I've lost them entirely.
So, is the lightning creature going to?
Yes, the lightning creature's going, but I see. Oh, there we go. There's Ben and Tommy. I lost half my party here. Didn't really want to go ahead when they weren't there. So the lightning thing, okay, the lightning creature has got disadvantage, and he's pretty... All right, I'm going to roll to see what happens here because I don't want to choose. All right. He's going to attack Fergus. He's going to send a lightning bolt out at Fergus.
Wait, is he shooting it at Fergus or Fergus?
Yes. Fergus. The real Fergus.
Who?
Will the real Fergus please stand up, Pringle?
Yeah, that's
Yes,
it. I was
this
just doing
is that.
I was just doing my Eminem impression.
And Fergus kind of shifts Pringle forward.
He's my proxy for this attack.
Oh, jeez. Okay, let's see. Fergus. Oh, well, he's going to miss you anyway, so that's just peachy keen fine. He's just basically going to send a random stray lightning bolt out there, it's not really going to do much anything to anyone.
Yeah, it kind of hits the stone behind him, and he just is looking at it like, oh, that's going to hurt.
Well, here's your chance to do something about it, Fergus. You're next.
And Fergus, he pulls out his axe and his hand axe, and he's kind of hopping from one foot to the other because he realizes, he's like, no, it's gonna hurt. And he just and he just screams and runs in there and swings at it. So the axe got a total of 18 to hit, and the hand axe had a 16.
Okay, those will both hit.
Okay, so the axe does a total of 11 points of damage, while the hand axe does 4.
All right, and each time you hit it, you get zapped back for 3 and for 6. Ouch!
And as
And
he,
the lightning weird is zapping back with all this power and energy for everybody that hits him.
what was the total again?
It was 3 and 6 would be 9 total.
Okay. And
But you have you have the golem next.
yeah, and actually, as he, as I knew that was gonna happen, and as it comes off, he says, "Smash!" So I guess he gets 1 attack, or
Yeah, he gets 1 because he only has 1 arm.
okay. What's his bonus to hit,
Oh, let's see.
if
Oh.
any?
His bonus to hit.
I can look it up if you want.
No, just a
just don't
second. I
wanna-
should.
No worries.
+5.
So he got a 14 to hit.
All right, a 14 will hit too.
Okay. And what's the damage on that?
I didn't write the damage down on this one. Oh, I know. Never mind. I have it right here somewhere.
I have it open if you want me to grab it. I just honest wasn't looking at the adventure.
Oh, there it is. No, I have it.
Okay.
Oh, it was +8 to hit, by the way. Reach 5 feet, 1 target. Hit 2d6 +4.
Okay. So total of 12 points of damage then?
All right. Well, tell him then how the Blackstone Golem manages to snuff out the lightning weird.
It kind of haltingly moves forward and raises its arm and brings it down into what would pass for the head of this thing. And as it does so, it goes into what is that head, and the lightning seems to start flowing and arcing up the arm of the golem, and just sort of, he's almost accepting the lightning that's within this beast, and the power, it just kind of flattens out for a little bit, and then just sort of it rolls into the golem.
All right. Well, you've made it past the lightning weird. The golem does not take damage because we've already established that he's grounded, and the power of something like that will just go through him. No, you don't get to level up.
But I was just 1 experience point away.
haven't even given you experience points.
So, anyways, just as that combat was starting, Pringle was like, "Gotta go," and he is gone. So, as the golem is smashing this lightning creature and out of existence, Pringle is already like maybe 10 steps into the other direction.
Well, when you're done playing games with the lightning weird, what you're going to see in the direction that Pringle is going is that you're going to see it becomes kind of a fancy hallway. There again, shrouded with spider webs and dust and, you know, little piles of strange things in the corners. And in front of you is going to be this massive, massive stone gate with a face on it. And its eyes are actually kind of alert and awake. And I guess we have to quit being funny. That's not fair. And before you, you see a sentinel gate, and it is open. Not widely open, but open, which it's not supposed to be.
So Pringle's going.
I have another dumb. Excuse me. I have another poem to read. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I just remembered. The labyrinth repositories proved to be a challenge, but these were no common warriors. They were heroes of might and talent. But cunning would be useful here, as their objective sat before them. Here stood the sentinel gate, majestic, gigantic, and just slightly cracked open. So what you have here is, yeah, go ahead.
So there's a door open, you say?
Yeah, there's this giant stone face gate is open.
Yeah. So Pringle's going to keep going forward toward the gate.
All right. As it gets close, the gate's going to go, "Who are you?"
Pringle, I almost said Fergus again. Dang it. I got that in my head and I can't shake it loose.
We should change our overlays and mess with people, right?
Well, I'm changing my overlay.
You've already messed with yourselves bad enough.
Anyways, Pringle's going to say.
You guys are hopeless.
It is I, Pringle, the Bard. And just to accentuate that, he takes out his little hand drum and he goes, clunk, clunk, clunk.
Oh, dear. All right. Well, you know, looking at the gate, that the gate should not be open, and that's certainly the path that all these burrow goblins have been taking to get into the city and blow things up.
I would challenge you a little bit on that, Carol. Does Pringle really know? I mean, really, does
Well,
he? The others probably know. Pringle does not.
Well, among you, this knowledge probably exists.
Actually, Fergus is probably next to him saying,
it would be clear.
He'd be saying, "Oh, that's not supposed to be open. That's not good."
Yeah, you ought to be doing the same thing. Oh, that's not good. Not good at all.
John is still kind of dazed from his first lightning experience. And he's just staring off to oblivion, like waving in the air because he still has sparks in his eyes. He's like, "Yeah." And his eyes are twitching, and he looks at George. "Wait, hello, Mum." He reaches out his arms and hugs him.
Not again.
Love it. Love it. Does it say anything else? The gate?
Not unless you talk to it, I guess.
Well, I almost did it. Pringle introduced himself. I don't know if Fergus introduces himself, or Jorg, or John for that matter.
Yeah, Fergus will step up and say, "I am Fergus Onderdonder, of the Brightbolt clan.
What do you hear? What are you doing here? Let's make that clear.
John will also go up and he says, "My name is Givens John." And you show like lightning coming, sparking off his eyeballs and everything. He's like, "At least I think I am. My name might be Fergus Pringle. I don't know."
Oh, God. Thanks, Lionel.
I love it.
Everybody's Fergus now.
I am
All right,
Fergus. That's my
Fergus.
brother Fergus, and that's my other brother Fergus.
I'll give you inspiration, Tommy. You get a point of inspiration for that one. It's too bad.
So Pringle, I think, is going to leave the next step up to these guys who clearly seem to know more than he does about what's going on with this door.
Well, we still have to introduce yourself, Jorg.
Well, I did, but everyone was laughing. I'm Jorg Cobblebeard. I was going to say Cobble Fergus, but why do you stand open?
The goblins opened to me.
For what reason?
Well, they passed my challenges, so I had to.
Goblins passed your challenges?
Yes.
Wow.
I'm sad to say your challenges must be very weak.
If a stone face could be said to glare, this stone face is glaring at you.
I guess it would be out of turn for Fergus to backhand him.
If you don't, I will.
He won't feel anything. He doesn't know even what he's talking about.
Jorg kind of takes his staff and like hooks it around you and pushes you behind him.
And John, why is there a giant, large shadow in my way?
What challenges are these?
Have a second.
Yeah, I believe that
I got it.
Fergus is looking at him, and I believe that there's a coupling of challenges that we must attain. And we must all do them
Yeah.
simultaneously.
Yes, yes. I need someone just to hold my mouth open so that another one can remove the gate's silver tooth. And I need to be entertained while this happens. And also, to even begin to open the gate, I need someone to identify these ancient runes. And so basically what we have is simultaneously, we need someone that can do a history check to identify the ancient runes, possibly Arcana, someone to do a performance and entertain him,
Pringle.
someone who's strong enough to hold the gate's mouth open, and someone who has sleight of hand to remove the silver tooth.
Pringle would say, "Obviously, I'm the one to get the tooth," and he would start moving towards.
And John Given starts dancing.
Fergus reaches into his pocket and looks for his glasses so that he can read the arcane runes.
You think the wizard to hold the gate open?
Starts reaching for the
Actually,
mouth.
I'm hoping Jorg steps forward and says, "Wait a second, this is something isn't right about this."
Good luck with that.
I'm the intelligent one, but I'm not.
Yeah, Jorg grabs his mouth and
Yeah, starts trying to pull it. Wait, this isn't going to work. Fergus, get up here.
And John.
Yeah,
He starts walking
Pringle
back.
would get his bagpipes ready.
Wait, I'll try dancing. This obviously isn't working.
Also, there's two people dancing back there.
I do what? Like,
And if we all dance, it'll entertain enough.
like that, you photo bomb there.
So Fergus claps his hands together and starts rubbing him. He's like, all right, I'm going to open that mouth. I guess you're going to get the key, right?
The tooth.
The tooth. He's pointing at John.
John looks behind him like, must be pointing to the bugs that are swirling in my brain. Or something like that.
And I think, well, Pringle, you've been entertaining thus far. I think you can pull something out for us, right?
Yeah, when you look over at Pringle, you see he's already got his bagpipes out and he's filling the bladder up with air.
Oh, the cats are out again.
The gate. Ha. 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 I used to like bagpipes.
Well, you shall like them again. Just you wait. You're
When John
a rare treat.
looks at the bagpipes and, his eyes start to clear and everything. He's like, he pulls out two earmuffs and and in this case, he actually, ear headphones and everything. He's listening to music while he's pulling out the two the classical music.
Maybe you should put those on the stone face.
And Yarg kneels down next to the ruins and begins to investigate them.
Yeah,
All
you
right.
guys, History Arcana investigate Jorg.
You have to do 30 inch.
There, I have 13 for my Arcana. Or 23, I'm sorry.
13.
Minor difference.
That's a good time to roll well.
I'm going to roll the sleight of hand. Oh, first he has to roll his strength. Because
Slide band.
You can't reach in yes until Pringle's rolls. Fergus, whatever's rolled strength.
Can I use athletics?
Yeah.
All right, so that's a
Sure.
total of a 17.
All right.
Get the tooth.
Down to you,
Start.
John.
Make the cat scream.
He's like, I'm not amused yet.
Lionel put up 20
Jade, you're not
performance.
muted.
Yes. Right.
Yeah. I thought he was going to play the bagpipes, man.
I did. I'm sorry. I put my roll in the chat. I got a 22 on my performance.
Yeah. No, I was hoping you'd actually do the bagpipe again.
Oh, no, because unfortunately I could not find the song that Pringle plays, which is, it sounds strangely like Ride the Lightning by Metallica.
man.
Ride the
So that
Lightning.
is what he is playing.
All right.
Don't ask me how he manages it on the bagpipes, but he does.
Of course he does. So I don't have John's. Oh, excellent. Excellent. So somehow this totally dysfunctional group of people all managed to do their part of this. Perhaps we could start with, let's start with Pringle telling us about, I mean, you did a little bit, but tell us about your bagpipe rendition that is so wonderful that it actually keeps the stone giant distracted while he's
Right.
getting his tooth removed.
So it initially starts off really slow. Like most, it's like, and then he just totally gets into the performance. And Yellowbeard and all, he is just shaking and a bacon, tapping his feet. And even after everything is said and done, he is still going. Like they got the tooth. They can go through the door, and Pringle's just like, and then he kind of turns all red faced and spits out the I don't know what they call the mouthpiece on a set of bagpipes, and then there's like that as the air. He lets all the air come out of the bladder. So we did it then.
Fergus, you'd be the next one of this group to start your part of it.
Were you calling for me?
Yes, that
All right, I
particular
was
Fergus.
playing bagpipes.
You're not playing bagpipes.
So he
The
is.
Fergus that's opening the door.
Yeah, Fergus is opening the mouth. He's got both the
Hang
stone.
on a second. Gotta go take care of our cat. Just jumped on our stove and burned his feet. So I will be
Okay.
back.
Oh dear.
I hope the cat's okay.
Yeah.
I would imagine he'd get off pretty quick, but I'm sure they can help him. Yeah. That's that big gray one you were looking at earlier. I hope he'll be all right. Yeah. He won't do that again.
No.
Poor Sam. I guess if you guys want to take a quick break, this might be a good time for it, because obviously it's going to be a couple minutes.
Okay.
Sure.
We'll get some coffee or whatever.
It's actually a good idea, Carol.
I know. I'm so smart. man, poor Sam.
Your head's in the way, Ginger.
Yeah, that didn't turn out real well for him. Okay.
Hi,
Gonna have
guys.
to wear mittens for a little bit.
Yeah, we can find something to put on him.
Tape some socks up his arms or something.
Yeah,
He'll
well,
hate you for a while, but
oh yeah. Yeah, he wasn't happy. I put him out in the snow for a while to help his feet cool off.
yeah.
No, so
Okay. We're waiting for Lionel.
Is my camera not working?
There you are. Let me right window again. There we go. All right, who were we on describing what they were doing?
So Pringle just played the music, ride the lighting on the bagpipes. It was amazing. It's still echoing through the halls, and Fergus is about ready to start pulling the mouth open.
Yep. So Fergus puts his meaty hands on the stone lips of the structure and he just starts pushing. And he starts pushing it out, pushing it out. Get the tooth, as he's just putting his whole body into it, kind of just propped his arms like a jack, basically holding it open.
But I think even before the tooth, we need to have those runes read.
York gets down. He's maybe holding his quarterstaff there with a little bit of lightning channeled into the end of it to give a little extra light. And he's reading over the runes and he deciphers them. They're actually part of something that I guess he read recently. I don't know what they mean.
Well, they'll say something about the third silver tooth to the left must come out.
So he'll read that out. It's the third one to the left in there.
and he reaches over to the right.
Your other left.
I don't think I have a left arm. Catch it? Oh, I do. He plucks it. Yeah. He's all real quick and everything, like a viper, and just plucks it out and looks at Silvertooth. He's about to put it back in, just like,
Can I just take a few more?
Plug. He's not.
As he plucks that tooth out, the stone golem is like, "Oh, it feels better. I think it was infected."
Yeah, it should be gold.
And after you do all that, the gate just very slowly starts to go closed. And I'm assuming that you're all going to find some way out of his stone mouth before he's done closing everything. I don't think that's actually the gate, but nonetheless. Hopefully John will get out before the real Fergus gives up on the gate.
I don't know exactly where we are. I thought the gate.
Are we on the outside or the inside of the gate? I thought we were just on the.
You're on the side that you approached from the from Stone Rift.
Okay.
You didn't go through it.
Right.
You want to stay on the Stone Rift side. You don't want to be stuck with all the burrow goblins.
Right.
And as it swings shut, you can kind of hear down the hallway coming. And the burrow goblins are actually coming up behind the gate. But he does swing shut just in time. You hear a couple of thumps, but they don't actually break through. And what are you going to do now?
York kind of dusts his hands. Yep. All in a day's work.
Good plan.
So just remind me, Carol. So this is how the goblins got into the lower levels of the dwarven city.
Yeah, that was how they were getting into the city to get up and blow things up. Somehow they'd managed to figure their way out through the gate.
Okay.
I guess they'd had a set of challenges they were able to succeed at as far as you know.
So Pringle would do the same thing. He would kind of brush his hands off, though his hands aren't even dirty. And he says, "Well, that's it. Job done."
John slowly wanders off down the hall, and his hair's still all frizzy. He's like, I wonder what I'm doing in the basement of my mom's house. He looks back over to Jordan and he pats you on the shoulder again. Continues walking down. When are you going to make breakfast again, Mom?
York grabs John by the shirt, and his finger lights up a lightning again. He just goes right in your forehead. Wake up!
Roll 1d4 for damage.
Poor John.
I don't
Hey!
have a D4.
We're missing.
You got rid of all the caltrops.
2.
I better believe it. The metal one.
Well, two. I would imagine that 2 little points of lightning damage would probably shake John's brain back into the clear a little bit, so that he may suddenly notice that there's some sort of ponderous thumping noise coming to them from down the hallway behind them.
So the opposite the door where we came from.
Actually, well, coming opposite from the stone gate. Coming the way that you came in.
Okay.
If you were headed back that way, it'll be in front of you.
Okay. And I would pull out my short swords.
Yes, I think this is. Do we want to continue the same initiative, or do we want to roll initiative again? I'll leave it up to you real quick.
We can continue the same initiative if you guys want.
Yeah, same initiative's fine.
All right.
Yeah, Pringle has to go last. That's how I like it.
That's how Pringle likes it.
The most spectacular, not the most spectacular thing. Give more time to plan.
I guess I will roll initiative for your new friend. Oh. He rolled a nat 20.
Ah, crud.
So as you're getting your wits back together, you see approaching you coming down the hallway, kind of thump, thump, thump. Another Blackstone golem. And this one is kind of scorched and beat up looking. And he is going to. Oh, come on. Do I have everything here? Until I need it.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Sorry. So yeah, he's obviously not 100% because he's looks like he's maybe taken one of those Burl Goblin blasts. And he's coming up at you. And I don't know who's in front.
I believe John is. He was the one wandering down the hall.
He's going to make a big old black stone golem fist attack at you.
I might die actually.
So this is a
Don't
stone
forget.
stone golem.
Yes, this is a big black stone golem like the one that you rescued.
Well, one, I'm just gonna say that's racist, Carol. But anyways, continue.
Black stone is just the color of rock he's made out of. Jeez.
Carol, when are you gonna learn just to ignore me?
Never.
Ignore the troll.
That's why you like me, because I always respond to your trolling. I know you.
You know something, Carol? That's probably true.
It
Yeah,
probably is. He's going to wave his big old fist in the direction of John. But John's pretty quick, and he's definitely going to get out of the way.